Good evening, everyone. I'm Merdad Azimun from People's Action. I'm so excited that you're here. Together with the We Are Home campaign and all of our co-sponsors, we're thrilled to do everything we can to support this big push for justice for immigrants and a pathway to citizenship. Antes de todo, para español, siga este link. Tonight, we bring you voices from the front lines in the fight for immigrant justice. We're especially psyched that our special guest, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, live from Washington, D.C., will join us. She's leading the fight for progressive values in Congress. But before we get there, we've got a soulful and action-packed agenda for you with a lot of special guests. So to kick us off is someone you may know from our previous virtual events, none other than the singer Taina Asili. Take it away, Taina.
No permission to say no more, wait no more, take no more. No permission to say no more, wait no more, take no more. From the waters of the God I descend, legends of my ancestral land, divine teachings they send from the source I defend. Bear strength of a people who survived slavery, attempted genocide. Awaken courage, let hope be revived. From this hope I will fight. As lawmakers are betrayed, like gods who decide our fate, at which rate our climate they'll annihilate. And it's us they incriminate, and us who will feel the weight of the sacred waters they desecrate. Those who hide behind laws destined the end of a soul. From the margins we call, we will know. No, negotiate our survival. No, negotiate our survival. No permission to say no more, wait no more, take no more. No permission to say no more, wait no more, take no more. Feel the waters beginning to rise, warnings of earth traumatized. In front of our eyes, recipes of our demise. But from the waters of the God we resist, born with medicine and truth in our fists. Cease and desist, we claim the right to exist. Those who hide behind laws, destined the end of a soul. From the margins we call, we will know. Negotiate our survival. Negotiate our survival. Thank you.
Thank you, Taina and Gaetano Vaccaro. That was absolutely amazing. As we all heard her sing, we're born with medicine and truth in our fists, and we will not negotiate our own survival. There is not a better song on the planet tonight to set us up for the conversation. Thank you to both of you for sharing of you. You got us started off exactly right. And if for folks, if you like what you heard, stick around, and we're going to have more music from Taina and Gaetano later in the program. All right, everyone. These are some history-making days right now in the fight for immigrant justice. Organizations from coast to coast have been leading the fight for pathways to citizenship for years. In the last few weeks have been working hard to make that a part of President Biden's recovery agenda. The immigrants' rights movement does not take no for an answer. We do not negotiate our own survival. And they rose up. We've seen immigrants' rights, we've seen grassroots leaders take bold action from the streets all the way from Los Angeles to the front of the White House demanding citizenship or bust. We're in a big week of action for Black immigrants to demand an end to expulsions, to cruel deportations of Haitian immigrants, and urging humanitarian parole for asylum seekers. I've been involved in the fight for immigrant justice for 15 years. It's a movement of strategy, smarts, and deep resilience. And I know full well because I'm a proud immigrant from Iran. I've been here since I was 7 years old. This country shaped me. I now help to shape this country. And right now, things are coming to a head in Washington, D.C., and the struggle to win a pathway to citizenship and permanent protection for millions of relief workers, people who have DACA status, and people with temporary protected status and beyond. We are here to take action tonight and urge Congress and the White House to do what we elected Democrats to do. Tonight, we're going to hear from folks from the front lines of that fight, people who can give us perspective on the moment that we're in and on what every one of us can do right now. So first, I want to welcome Deepak Bhargava. Deepak is a lifelong organizer, former head of community change. He helped build Fair Immigration Reform Movement, one of tonight's co-sponsors. He's been in the trenches of this fight for 20 years. He's now a distinguished lecturer at City University of New York and an editor of the new book, Immigration Matters. And to many of us on this call, he's a friend and someone we can turn to for wise counsel. Deepak, thanks and welcome. Thanks for being here. To start off, can you tell us about what's at stake in this moment for the immigrants' rights movement?
Thanks, Mehrdad. So this is a huge moment for immigrant communities and for all of us. For over 20 years, we've marched, we've campaigned, we've voted, and many of us have even gotten arrested to win a pathway to citizenship for 11 million undocumented immigrants in this country. Everyday people, workers, community members have taken huge risks to get us to this point, and now is the time when we need to bring the victory home. The Democrats have unified control of the House, the Senate, and the White House. There are no excuses for inaction. The lives of millions of people really hang in the balance on what happens these next days and weeks.
Thank you, Deepak. Thanks for that. You dig into a lot of those issues in your new book, Immigration Matters. Can you tell us about the book and its big themes?
Yeah, so the book Immigration Matters brings together many of the country's leading organizers and academics to look at a positive vision for immigration. In the Trump years, we were all really clear what we opposed, all the cruelty, all the racism. But the book attempts to answer the question, what's our vision for immigration? And the book lays out big new ideas, for example, making the case that our country should admit millions of more people in the coming years, that we need to remake our refugee and border policy, and that we need to reckon with the impact of climate change on driving migration from the global South. And we also tell inspiring stories in the book of how immigrants and their allies have built real power and won big change by challenging corporations, by flexing electoral muscle, and by building bridges. And I'm really pleased that one of the most inspiring and instructive chapters is by you, Mehrdad, and your colleague, Adam Krugel at People's Action.
Well, thank you. Thank you for including us. We're humbled to be included among really some visionary folks who are also in the book. Glad to contribute. And you mentioned deep canvassing, which is basically what we call longer, more in-depth conversations with strangers about the values that we share. It's less about sharing facts and a short 2-minute conversation, but a longer conversation about shared lived experiences. And we had thousands of those kinds of conversations in battleground states last year, and they had a decisive impact on the outcome of the election. What do you think deep canvassing can contribute now to this moment?
Yeah, this is really important. The book argues that immigrant rights needs to be seen not as a separate issue, but as a crucial part of a larger economic and racial justice agenda in the country. And so for me, deep canvassing is a crucial and essential tool for us to build bridges to see the shared stories and the shared interests of immigrant and native-born workers and community members. And I've come to think that really the only antidote to the hate that Trump and the nativists have been peddling is real human relationships that are built through community organizing. And that's what, to me, deep canvassing really represents a return to. And we're really excited to feature the path-breaking work of People's Action and deep canvassing in the book, because we think this work is what's going to help us build the broader sense of we, us, that we're going to need to achieve justice for all of us.
Thank you, Deepak. And one last question. If there's one thing you want us to be fighting for right now, what is it?
So I'm really hopeful and excited that millions of people in these next crucial days and weeks are going to take action on behalf of our neighbors, our family members, ourselves, to win a path to citizenship for millions of people. Victory really is in our grasp. And it's one of those rare moments in history where what every single one of us does is going to make the difference of whether we get over the finish line. So I'm so excited for this call tonight, so inspired by the action that's being generated by thousands and thousands of volunteers around the country. That's what's going to make the difference. That's what's going to get us to victory.
Deepak, thank you. To our friend, thank you for sharing such a clear, succinct, and inspiring picture of what's happening right now. And I'm going to turn now to someone who's truly at the front lines, right in the thick of the negotiations, hour by hour fight in the halls of Congress, and that's Lorella Praeli. She's co-president of Community Change Action and a chair of the We Are Home campaign. Lorella is an immigrant from Peru. She's a leader in the immigrants' rights movement, a key player in the fight to build and demand the program that we now know as DACA, from Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, from then President Barack Obama. Lorella, welcome. Really glad to have you. You're in the thick of this fight for immigrant justice. What's on the table?
Mehrdad, thank you so much. I am really excited to be here with you and everyone who's tuned in. I feel like the stakes could not be higher in this moment. We are so clear about what we're fighting for and why we do what we do. And I always remember why I do what I do. I remember what it was like to be undocumented and to have the opportunity to become a citizen, the choices that I had to make and that we made when I was at United We Dream to organize around something that felt achievable, and that was DACA. And so when I think about the moment that we're in and recognize the kind of struggle and movement that we have built for years and for some for decades, we have a once in a generation opportunity before us. We know that the party with the White House and Congress often loses the first midterms. So the next opportunity to pass legislation is likely many years away. So when I think about the moment that we're in and the stakes, Mehrdad, I think that this is it. This is our window. We have to remind our elected officials how they got to where they are, who elected them. Democrats have the White House, they have the Senate, they have the House, in part thanks to our work voting them into office last year. So I have been saying since the beginning of this campaign, there is simply no participation trophies. There is no "we tried." That's just simply not enough. We will hold you accountable to delivering for people. And so being able to live a life of dignity and fair wages and having the kind of security that we envision when we talk about full citizenship in this country, that's what this fight is really about.
Thank you. I'm wondering, can you tell us, like, the fact that this has actually been included as part of Build Back Better, a path to citizenship, protections for immigrants, like, how did that actually happen? Why is this being included? Why are people talking about this as part of the Build Back Better agenda?
Merdad, this is really a story of the power of organizing, because I'm sure that people will remember that we were not originally or initially, immigrants and immigration was not part of the initial Build Back Better framework.